Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride, where I'm here with the lovely Lena Rodriguez from Tarot Down Under. How are you doing with all the smoke and fires, Lena?
It's amazing, isn't it? We're sort of living on this Mad Max set
Just
now down
exactly
under, you know.
just how it feels.
It's going to go on and on. And people have been very kind. Thank you for all your concerns, you know. So I'll be putting a link up about safe places to donate, because I know you guys are wanting to donate, particularly about the animals, you know.
Yes, yeah. And I really encourage people to donate. I mean, it's a situation where, you know, Kangaroo Island has species that don't exist anywhere else on the planet. They may be going extinct as we speak. It's terrifying. But I don't want to remain on a depressing topic too long and move on to the next somewhat depressing.
Yes, so we thought we'd just quickly cover what's happening in the Middle East, and we'll each then do separate videos in more detail, because today we want to go on, while we're connected here on split screen Zoom, to tackle the trial and what's going to be happening with the Senate and stuff. Okay, guys?
Right.
All right.
You ready for questions?
So, Dave, what do you think the Iranians are going to do now? They've been so provoked, you know.
Yeah. Let's bring some of this.
You know, yeah, breathe the incense. So the treaty's been ripped up. They've been under sanctions. Now they've had a major figure assassinated. What do you see?
Okay, wow. Okay, I'm getting a lot of action here. It's interesting that there's a woman in the center of this. It's very interesting, and it's almost like she's leading, or almost like leading an outcry. Okay, what are you doing? Things are pulling together for them. I mean, it doesn't look good for the world. It's like I see a triangle forming in red, and I feel like the things are coming together for a real fight. I see a missile. The missile doesn't go far, though. It is located nearby, somewhere in the Middle East. I'm afraid there might be some kind of attack on Israel. That's just a sort of feeling that I get. And when I see this map, it's not, you know, it doesn't have lines that show where the countries are. I see these radical people. They're getting very upset. This is the stupid thing about all this. All Trump has done is unite all of Iran against us. They were on the verge of, you know, maybe splitting and disseminating a bit. I see them united. I do see a flag. I do see that there's going to be some kind of fight. It doesn't feel major. It feels very localized. I don't feel like there's troops so much as just a sort of back and forth firefight. The other thing is, the real humiliation will be if they kick us out of Iraq. And that's, I'm starting to feel like, let me see. So Spirit, are they going to kick us out of Iraq? It's not certain, but it's not certain entirely, but there's going to be an attempt to do that, and that will be part of the fight here, is removing America from Iraq. I do think that they will eventually succeed. I don't think it'll happen overnight, but I think that America will be compelled to leave.
Wow, because we forget there was an Iraqi also assassinated with the Iranian general.
Yes, you mentioned that, and I haven't read that anywhere. Every New York Times article, I don't see a thing about it. I guess I wasn't reading it. Let's see, but let me ask one more time. So what about, I almost feel like nothing is certain yet. It's still very fluid. The plans are being formed, they're coming together, but nothing is totally certain. There will be a response. The response appears to be, I see a missile, and the missile is going somewhere in the Middle East. I think there'll be some problems with shipping past the Sea of Hormuz. Yeah, there are going to be that's going to be the real problems is the shipping lanes, and they're going to cause some problems with oil, and this will cause problems in the commodities and stocks that things will go a little wonky for a while. And we're going to endure this. We're going to endure this unknown situation for I'm getting a month and a half. It's going to be very much changing and fluid and a little bit unpredictable, to tell you the truth. I couldn't say too much for certain. All I can tell you is that this was a very bad move. These guys are now coalescing. If you wanted to make Iran and Iraq friends, this was the perfect way to do it. And if they are friends and they unite against us, that's going to be a problem. Can you tell me anything more specific? I'm getting a no. I think that I think it's actually too ambiguous right now to call.
Yeah. Yeah. But when I read on it a few days ago, I got complications with oil and the Straits of Hormuz too. So that's interesting.
Okay. It is interesting because I did not watch your video. Yet. I want to be clear, right? So great. So now it's my turn to ask Lena a question, and I'm going to ask this. So a la tarot cards, how will it play out for Trump? How will this situation in Persian Gulf play out for him?
Yeah, okay. How will this play out for Trump? Let's see. Trump. Okay. I'm going to move the screen down, but it doesn't quite work like that. I'll see if it does. Oh, yeah, there we go.
What do you know?
So high tech. Dave suggested, viewers, that we make a video of ourselves trying to make a joint video.
Yes. Even intuitives have technical problems, trust me.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially intuitives, I think. All right. Well, we have swords and money. I mean, really. Okay, so bang in the center. Here we have the Ace of Swords. This is the main card for cutting through the crap. Okay, so in other words, he won't be able to hide. You know how he always ducks and weaves and moves on to the next shiny thing? He won't be able to hide from this. It's going to keep coming back. And you'll notice that the sword of truth pierces the crown and that the laurels of victory are sort of wilted.
Yeah.
So in a way, I think that card sums it all up. So why was America and all the other Western countries there in the first place? Oil, meaning fool's gold here. It's going to come back circling around the oil issue. Underneath, he has the Queen of Pentacles, and that I don't think is a literal woman. That I think is more money energy. He only thinks about money. He's actually not capable of having a broader geopolitical or even domestic political agenda. For him, it's about him and it's about money. And at the moment, on the one hand, he's got the upper sword of victory, but at a price of the king going down. Then we are at a crossroads, meaning the world. Because I just want to point out here, viewers, Australia's not uninvolved. We've gone into every conflict with the United States, every single skirmish since the Second World War. And everything, like you say, it's sort of not known yet which way people are going to go. Is it going to escalate or de-escalate? Is it just going to hover around? Because people would be talking about all these things right now, you know. And there's so many players and there's so many options. The outcome, Page of Cups, a message that has a real surprise to it. Is it a surprise for us? I think yes and no. I think this is Trump's mini reading. How will it work for him? He's going to be quite shocked and surprised at how this starts to unravel, because whatever happens is not going to be marvelous for him.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Ready for
now? Yeah. Can I ask you a question, please?
Go ahead.
the question on everybody's lips, will there be more articles of impeachment? There's plenty more that could go, but will there be more articles of impeachment?
It's interesting because I can see it's like a circle, and it's almost like article here, and then there's another section of articles, and she's kind of going like this, hmm, and then she's going, well, yeah. So Nancy, how many more? And it's funny because it's almost like, as I say to this, how many more? She gets angry and she slams something on the table, right? And she's okay, because I think this is in the works. There is something that actually makes her angry enough. I think that McConnell's going to muddle all this stuff. He's going to fuddle around, and she's going to finally go, okay, 2 articles weren't enough. She's showing me 3. I don't know if that's 3 total or 3 more. Let me just ask, how many more is Nancy going to add? 1 or 2 is what I get. So can you tell me?
Interesting. Wow.
How many more articles of impeachment? Okay. It's okay. It's funny because Spirit's actually showing me cards, so here's card number 1, here's card number 2, here's card number 3. So I think that she will add 1 more article of impeachment. And maybe that's what's going on with her and McConnell and Schumer, is that they're basically saying, if you don't respond, we're going to add another article. And that's the game that they're playing. So, and she's smiling. I mean, I think this is all in Nancy's favor. I think that this is a really good thing. Yeah, goodness. That's what I get.
Okay. And while you're there in channeling mode, how long do you think they'll hold them up?
Well, it's funny because it's like, it goes on longer than they expect. I'm even getting 3 months.
Okay.
So let me ask. So when will she deliver them? March, April, May. Wow, it could be May or June. Tell me more. She's nodding. Yeah, this is going to go on for a really long time. I'm surprised myself. I didn't imagine they'd go on for this long. I think this battle is going to come. It's going to be a long burn. So tell me again, Spirit. June. I'm actually getting June. That's when these are going to be submitted. Yeah. One thing about during this work right now. I mean, I can completely wrong. I'm not necessarily perfect at dates. And then obviously, anybody just as you and I both know, is 80% would be a high truth factor. But it's just what I always find funny is intuitives seem to know better than anybody else about predicting what's going to happen because it's so unpredictable.
Exactly. And why don't governments employ more psychics? I don't know. They don't have to tell anyone.
I know Putin does. Because I got a little.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I was like a little bit close to his psyche, and his psychics were out there on the prowl protecting him. I was afraid. I'm not necessarily going to do that again.
Right.
Not anytime soon. Putin, I would recommend anybody you're looking at Putin, you burn a lot of sage.
Burn a lot of sage. Well, maybe one we should tackle together in a way. Will the GOP get around to having witnesses, and if you can pick up on anybody who it might be, and I'll read on it as well. So let's go. Will they get there with the witnesses?
Well, here's what I get. I get McConnell going like this, crossing his arms like no way, and then kind of downcast. He doesn't have good choices. Either choice is bad, which is why this political move was quite brilliant, because he doesn't have a good option. He's very frustrated. He's looking really frustrated. This is an impossible project. And he's going like this, no way, I don't want to do that. No way, no way. But as the process gets longer, I kind of feel like this is going to be a process of attrition. It's just going to be more and pressure. And if you think about it, in some ways, I always wondered what's the big hurry. right?
Mm.
So I know that they're politicking and everything. Well, too bad. You know, your job is to run the country, not run for elections.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I think that it is going to run longer than anybody expects. Nancy keeps smiling at me. What is she
Mhm.
showing me? She's showing me a wrist, pearls on her wrist. Why are you showing me that?
Ah.
Ah, in a way, it's like collecting pearls. Week one,
Uh,
week two, week three.
oh,
The
yes.
longer it goes on, the better it is for the Dems,
Mm.
right? Because it just puts McConnell in this situation. And he's saying he really doesn't want to, but I get that he might have to. I'm just getting he might have to do Bolton. He really doesn't want it. He's saying, no way, no way. So, Spirit, can you tell me, will they call anyone to testify? Will the GOP call anybody to testify? He's telling me no. He's saying, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know if that means he will succeed, but he's emphatically saying no.
Yeah, because who are they going to get? There's no one who
no one that's
supports
going to help them.
Trump's case. And I got the same thing in the sense that my reading went to McConnell too, not wanting it.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, big money, big intergenerational money, big corporate money, all sorts of money on top, not wanting witnesses.
Yeah.
They're juggling madly.
Mm-hmm.
Here's Pelosi with all the time in the world.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Just get back to me when you've stopped fighting and carrying on.
Exactly.
They're going, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We have to do something because Trump's sitting there as an impeached president until he's not.
Yes.
So that's his title. And McConnell is going to have to deal with multiple onslaughts or spears of demands of what he should be doing.
Yeah.
I think this is the 8 of Wands. I think there's the Dems, I think, have put 8 up, hoping to get 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he's going no to anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they've thrown the net wide because they want Nick Mulvaney, they want Giuliani, they want, you know, Sondland's to come back again. Pompeo hasn't spoken. You know, you could easily get to 8.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's their wish list, knowing they're not going to get it, but they're going to keep throwing it at them. Well, what about this one? What about this one? What about this one?
Mm-hmm.
That sort of vibe. Okay. Well, there we go. Justice Roberts.
Okay. So
I think we both have to do our thing on Justice Roberts.
So okay. So let's see. What will John Roberts do? Spirit, tell me, what will Roberts do? Let me I'll just tell you what I see, and you can maybe help me interpret it. Roberts is there almost with a flourish, like it's almost like a drama, like a Shakespeare drama, that he shows up and then he turns around and leaves, and then he goes back to the court. It's like a dramatic expectation where nothing seems to be happening. But maybe not, because he's turned with a flourish, and I'm almost like seeing his back. And then I see him sit on the court, but it looks like a Supreme Court. And I almost like want to say that something judicial is going to happen before the trial, or something's going to happen to make the trial not happen. I can't quite get my finger on this. Wait, what do you see?
Okay, let's find out. Justice Roberts. I'll just do a quick one. Ooh. He's going to do he's going to have to do some gymnastics.
Yeah.
At the moment, I'm quite surprised that he feels he's held hostage already. This is now.
Mm.
And he's feeling that because he prides himself in being, you know, this even-handed man, but he's left in a cleft stick if he wants to speak to truth, justice, and the American way.
Mm-hmm.
He's dealing with these counterfeit Republicans, these complete sellout nutcases. So he knows He's already in hell, frankly. But he's going to rise to the occasion. Here we have the sword of justice again, and everything I just said says too. He'll be able to make some inroads through their crap, but not altogether. Stormy hand of God cards. Ace of Cups, he's quite emotional about this. This is right underneath his hostage card. He has never experienced something like he has been asked to do in the climate he has to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one thing to be asked to do the biggest trial in modern American history, and he would go, yes, thank you, thank you. Instead, he knows these people are prepared to flagrantly flout the law. And this is what I mean by the gymnastics. Now, if you see with this card, the Ace of Pentacles, with this gap in the hedge here, this is destined to have to repeat the process. If he doesn't get it right, and the trial goes ahead and they fail to convict, etc., American people have to live through that next horrific stage. He knows this is on the line.
Right.
But outcome, he's more relaxed. So I think he'll get through it. He'll get as good an outcome as could be got under very adverse circumstances.
Yeah. Maybe what I'm seeing at the end is the court hearing.
Yeah.
Trial. Yeah, I should say. Trial.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think it's going to be as quick as they'd all like either.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. All right. So I think we've only got time for one more, really, because we have to upload this. So what would you like to ask?
Let me ask you, and we'll have you work first here. Will impeachment change American minds?
Very good question. So, yes. It's hard because people's concentration span is quite limited in the modern world. It's no one's fault. It's just how it is. Can they wait? Can they keep up with it when it's happening? Will it change their minds? I think all of that feeds into the question, you know. So let's see, will it actually change people's minds? In an election year like this, will it change people's minds? Yes, I really, really think it will. There'll be a lot more aggressive posturing, particularly by Republicans in red states and so forth, you know, while it's unfolding. It won't be obvious it's changing people's minds straight away, right? They're going to still be plugged in to their echo chambers, just like the left. So people are going to be very polarized while it's happening. However, boom, here comes the world. Bigger picture, people rising to the challenge of being voters in the most important election in modern American history, and that's going to actually sink in. Not everyone, you can write off 25%, but we're talking about the independents, we're talking about new voters, we're talking about decent thinking Americans, regardless, they might have been Republican up until now, but you know what, they're not happy. Then the King of Wands, which is, I think, Justice Roberts in this context. Both sides respect him. So that's his role as much as anything, even if he can't shoot down some of their more delirious rules and notions, people fundamentally trust him to oversee this trial. The Chariot means there will be momentum and there will be change.
Great.
So what do you see?
Well, you know what I did see? It's just almost like a total coming apart. It's like nothing that the Republican Party used to be exists anymore. It's completely different. I see almost like a total division. I mean, if we were separate before, now we're completely Democrat, Republican, completely at odds. It's just literally a disconnected society. Will it change people's minds? I kind of get that it's a component. I feel like it's one
Yeah.
of the things that's changing people's minds, but I even think that this will be changing people's minds, but also the Persian Gulf experience will be changing people's minds.
Yes.
Foreign relations, I even feel like foreign relationship will affect the trial. That's kind
Yes.
of, yeah,
That's a really good point.
it's not just the trial, it's the things that,
Yeah.
the fact that everything's falling apart around it. So that's kind of where I get, and I keep getting like foreign powers. What about American spirit? Do you think Americans will change their minds? Almost like people will become more extreme in their views as they exist.
Yeah, they're going to get more polarized first.
More polarized. Yeah, so I hate to say it, but I think it is going to make people even more polarized, and that's just the way we live now.
Yeah. And then it's a very different private story in the ballot box.
It is. It is. Yeah. I don't know if we can really believe any surveys that we're seeing right now. They don't.
Exactly. I think people will be in very entrenched camps throughout this process. It will be ugly for all the obvious reasons, but when it counts,
it'll matter. Well, and correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, maybe you don't get the same thing. I get that this whole economy being great is a big sham. I think that it's just a sham. I think it's like, how do I know the economy is great? None of the people I'm talking to own stocks. They're, maybe they're working, but they're working 3 jobs. I don't get any.
And if this is a good economy, we have to really worry about a bad economy. But this, it's like, who says it's good? We keep getting told. It's the same here in Australia, how marvellous it is and how low the unemployment rate is and all of that. And most people I speak to are struggling and stressed.
Well, and just to put this on an optimistic note, because I think it's important that, what do you think? I mean, if I'm one of your clients, I came to you and said, what can I do? How can I make this better? What do you think? What advice do you give?
In the sense of like about stock market or
everything,
generally in life?
Depressing situations.
Everything that's going on, because it is full on.
It's full on.
And I think people really have to see, it's January 2020. We're at the beginning of the woo year. I think it's really important to bump up your support networks to deal with this, however that is. It could be online, it could be face-to-face, but find your communities. So even if you're a a blue dot in a red sea, or even a red dot in a red sea, because there are some Republicans who are coming around.
Right.
So in some places it's easier and harder than others, but find your people, find some way to engage. So on the one hand, I think you really need to rest up, take time out, have breaks from the news.
Yes.
Because you have to rejuvenate and get out there too. You can't burn out by February. It's a long year.
Yes.
So all those things come into play. Find your people.
Yeah. It's so funny, Lena, because that is exactly the same advice that I would give. If we're becoming a fractured society, what you need to do is make some new connections. And there are some people who are never going to change our minds. We'll never necessarily have a friendly connection with them. But it also means people like you and I are changing our minds, and you and I are becoming active and coming together and doing work. There is a very positive thing about this. And one thing I always tell people is, we have free will. Here is an opportunity to show, this is what I would have done had Nazi Germany risen. Would have been a good person. Here's your chance to say what you would have done in these situations where you had to make a difficult decision between 2 things. I mean, in a way, we are becoming.
Yes, and I think it is an historical time.
Yes.
And transitions are always uncomfortable. And we want to leap to the new Aquarian age where everyone's very enlightened and peace-loving, but we've got to get there. And that involves personal discipline, but being kind to yourself, bumping up your spiritual practices, and all that stuff at the same time. And do not let these things paralyze you. That's really important.
Really, really important.
When you connect with people, it stops that paralysis. You feel, I can do this one little thing, one day a week. I've only got Wednesday afternoons off, but I'm going to do this thing, or whatever it is. Because if you're active, you're not capitulating to this monument. It's the last flailings of this crazy selfish capitalism. It's the last flailings of the patriarchy, and they're all going to go down fighting. So we have to have our spiritual warrior suits on, you know.
And they better be deflective. They better deflect.
Deflective, absolutely.
And if we could just make
being kind.
One more positive note I'd bring to all y'all is Lena and I would never have known each other without this crisis, right? So if you just want to think of something positive, think of the friendships that you have made thanks to this crisis. You know, true metal and friendship is born out of these kinds of situations. I just know that if I'm in a foxhole, I want Lena right next to me. She I can trust. I know that she will be there.
Exactly, but these great alliances are coming up. And like the viewers on our channel, there's a lot of overlap, obviously, too. Great people, exceptionally interesting, committed, fantastic people. So a big shout out to you all. You guys give us the energy to keep going.
We really do. We read your comments. It makes a big difference. I get so many messages telling me about how people are concerned and they're doing things now. I really admire and respect all of the people who are, you know, even small things really matter.
Small things matter.
Right.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks, Dave. That was a buzz.
Yes.
We'll try and load it up for you on our respective channels. We'll see how that goes.
See how that goes. So please, if you've seen this on Lena's channel, look at mine. If you see this on my channel, look at Lena's. That way we'll feel well compensated.
All right. So bye for now.
Take care.
And
Lena.
Dave, please keep your phone on for 5 minutes.
Okay, I'll try to do that.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.